Assassin's Creed Mirage was released earlier this month, and I wanted to share my thoughts about it. I've spent about 15 or so hours playing the game. I know lots of folks are hoping for a return to form with this release, especially when you consider games like Valhalla and Odyssey, which are more RPG focused. I'd say that Assassin's Creed Mirage is more of a middle ground between the original Assassin's Creed style and the more recent games. It has some RPG elements where you get to upgrade gear and choose certain skills, but there's definitely an emphasis on stealth in this game. Overall, I like Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I'd say that it has a lot of value, especially at its price point, where here in the United States, I bought it for $50 on PC, which is great for a game that came out in 2023. And you know, the visuals actually look pretty good, which is unfortunate that I even have to think about that, especially from a big publisher like Ubisoft, but they are notorious for having poor releases at launch. However, Assassin's Creed Mirage was pretty good for me right out of the gate. I don't want to spoil the story right now, so in this video I'll be focusing just on the setting and the gameplay mechanics, but I do plan to have a full review of the game once I actually finish the full game. Running around the dense city of Baghdad is actually pretty fun, especially when you're trying to escape your enemies. Speaking of enemies, there isn't a huge variety of enemy types, but you'll likely need to plan your attacks carefully, otherwise you can be dying fairly quickly. The combat is a little sluggish at times, especially when you're surrounded by 3 or more enemies. The assassination animations can take a few seconds to complete. During that time, you won't be able to defend yourself from attacks. In one-on-one encounters, most enemies aren't trouble, but there's one specific enemy type that has a lot of armor plus multiple weapons, and they're fast. Against them, you basically have to use your tools if you want a chance to win. I can't tell you how many times I've confidently ran into combat and I get smacked around and taken out by them in less than 5 seconds. But outside of that experience with that particular enemy, I enjoy the combat overall. I'd say it's fair and rewarding. The contextual climbing can be a little anxiety provoking because you usually get a button prompt, but you don't always get one. So if you are, say, for example, high on top of a building and you're trying to complete your jump and get up to the top, it isn't always clear whether you can actually make that jump. But if you can, it's extremely satisfying once you manage to get where you're trying to go. Outside of the main story, there are several side missions you can complete. Most center around protecting a person as you guide them through the map or collecting some items from an enemy base. But the map is diverse enough to not feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over again. Although I'm still working through the story, I feel like I've gotten a lot of value for my money. Whether you're a fan of the quote-unquote traditional stealth-centric games like Assassin's Creed 1 or Brotherhood, or you prefer the RPG style games, I think you'll have something to enjoy in Assassin's Creed Mirage. So those are some of my thoughts about the game, but I'd love to hear yours. Let me know what you think about Assassin's Creed Mirage or the Assassin's Creed franchise overall.